Welcome once again to the Allon Exchange with Jay and Brittany Hagy, financial advisors and the founders of Allon Planning Partners. I'm Spike Spangle. Every single week we like to come to you with retirement planning, income planning, tax planning, estate planning solutions. It's our pleasure to do so. Jay and Brittany, how are you both doing this week?
Doing great.
Doing good,
Doing
Spike.
great, man.
Fantastic, fantastic. What's on your mind? What would you like to make sure that we cover for our viewers today?
I want to interrupt before we get into that.
Okay.
Something to celebrate. This is our 50th show.
Oh, like 50?
Yeah,
Number
50th show. I know it doesn't seem that way because we have a lot of fun, but 50th show, and so thank you for viewing this show. Thank you for your comments, for your feedback.
Yes.
We love being able to give financial advice week in and week out, and so I just wanted to celebrate with you, our listeners, and our watchers, and for us, 50th show this week. 50
shows, as Jay is saying there. Thank you for your viewership. If you think about what a season of television is now on something like Netflix, it's 8 or 10 shows.
Right.
50 shows, that's like 3-4 years worth of content.
Something to celebrate.
And every single week it's different. Every single week you apply it to what's going on in today's financial news, what people can do, actual takeaways, material that you've put together, free for the viewers. Thank you guys to your commitment to education and continuing to do this all the time. So let's get to it for folks. What would you like to cover this week?
Well, this week we thought that we could talk about some potential mistakes that could tank our retirements, right? So what we like to do is not just acknowledge this is a problem. Man, we could list a lot of those, but we do want to bring some of those to light today. We want to say, hey, here's some things, potential pitfalls to avoid, some things that could trip you up along the way. But we want to go a step further. And we don't want to just highlight the problem or identify the problem.
Right.
We want to talk solutions. We want to help you finish today better than you started. We want your tomorrow to be better than yesterday. We want to help you propel yourself forward and move towards where you want to be. And so that's what we're going to talk about. Some mistakes that we can avoid.
To avoid the mistakes for tomorrow.
That's right.
I love it. And here's one of the biggest things for me, and this can affect so many Americans. We've moved over from working at a company and having pension plans to having to choose the funds in our own 401ks, 403bs, TSPs. You both have said not knowing how you're invested can be one of the biggest mistakes. And we do this for 30 or 40 years.
Oh, it can absolutely be a killer when it comes to retirement planning, because we are creatures of habit. We get into a position to where we've been in one mindset this whole time while we've been working, and that is what? To see our accounts grow, to see our nest egg grow, to see our nest egg continue to grow year after year. And we forget sometimes that we're contributing to those. We've got employee-sponsored matches a lot of times. So it's not just the way that we're positioned. And when we get into retirement, well, we're not putting money into those anymore. We're not getting that employee-sponsored match anymore. It's really the ebbs and flows of the market that's going to adjust our accounts. So how do we make a change from accumulation mindset to distribution mindset? Not knowing how you're invested walking into retirement, even a couple years before, we'd love people to start up to 5 years before they retire, to start making adjustments to when you get into that retirement mode, that you are in a place that you're positioned well for the distribution phase. They're taking money from those accounts now, not just adding to it. So it can tank you if you stay invested the way that you've always been invested, and now you're taking withdrawals instead of creating savings plans on them.
Yeah,
I'm sure you've asked the question. Yeah,
picking and choosing from
what they've picked and choose.
Let's segue a bit from, because you were talking distribution, taking distributions from those accounts, how you're invested and how they're working for you, and then how you take income from them.
Right.
Well, another thing, Spike, that could really tank our retirement strategy or plan is not considering taxes, or maybe say it this way, just paying taxes instead of planning for taxes. Two very different things. We want to help folks be proactive in their approach to taxes, because the truth is you get to choose a lot about when and how you pay taxes. Some things we can't, but there are some areas that we can, and a big area that we have more control than most people think that we do is when it comes to our 401ks and our IRAs, those types of accounts where we can choose to pay taxes now, to do Roth conversions, to do Roth laddering strategies, to have Roth accounts themselves. We get to choose when and how to do that. So that's an important part as well, and ensuring that you're actually planning. So when we opened up the show, I talked about we're offering solutions. We're not just highlighting the problem here. So when it comes to this tax issue, we have a solution for you. If you're in this boat and you do not know where to begin or how to get started, visit exchangemytaxbill.com. There's a QR code down below, websites listed there, exchangemytaxbill.com. We've created this tax calculator where you can input some basic information and it will help you see how much of your retirement dollars you actually still owe taxes on, so that you can see the dollar amount that's yours and the dollar amount that you still have to pay. Bottom line, you can see your tax debt. That's what we want to highlight, to help you see what you actually owe. And then from there, we could meet together and talk through strategies to help you minimize those taxes so that you're not caught off guard or you're having to live off significantly less income than you expected just because of taxes. We want to help you prevent those things. Again, that's what we're highlighting today. That's the whole point of this conversation, is helping you avoid some of these common mistakes and some of these things that really could not just trip you up, but tank you completely. And taxes is a big one.
Yeah, and one thing that goes together real well with these two concepts in the investment management and with the tax planning is diversification. Is because a lot of folks, they understand the concept of diversification when it comes to their investments. Do I have a lot of mutual funds? Do I have a lot of stocks, bonds, real estate? What does my diversified portfolio look like? But a lot of times we forget within your 401ks and IRAs and accounts like this, that there's also diversification of tax statuses.
That's right.
And so you can have taxable accounts, you can have tax deferred accounts, you can have tax free accounts. And so where are you at in that picture of diversification? And that's part of this exchangemytaxbill.com that we put together, is so that you can see, are you well diversified in your tax strategies, just like you are your investments, hopefully.
You're not alone out there. The vast majority of Americans who have been saving over the last 30 to 35 years have been saving into tax-deferred accounts.
That's right.
So why don't you go down here and find out exactly how much you'll owe right now at the tax rates of where they're at on how much you've saved in tax-deferred accounts. Then you can also reach out to us and we'll help you see if doing something like a Roth conversion is a good idea, maybe doing something like a Roth 401k. Maybe we'll discuss that a little bit after the break, what that means. But find out first exactly how much you owe in taxes right now. You can either type it in, go to exchangemytaxbill.com. You can use the QR code, we'll put that up again later, or you can call the phone number. More of the Allon Exchange with Jay and Brittany Hagy right after this.
You have to have a plan. From what I found, we call it the sleep well at night plan, the SWAN plan.
Yeah, a comprehensive plan is extremely important for individuals, families, couples, anyone who is working with their finances. You've got to have more than just an investment.
If we have a plan and know that we can follow step by step a plan that's going to get us to our ultimate goal, we can have trust in that plan to anchor us in those tumultuous times.
And so we're able to really show them, hey, there's all these other things that really come into play.
So it's real important for us to really create those unique plans for people. And it's not just like, well, my neighbor's doing this, so I'm okay.
You got to think about your taxes. You got to think about your health care. You got to think about a number of things that really impact the whole of your financial situation, especially for couples. And we talk about this a lot, that at minimum, both spouses should at least be informed.
Ultimately, we want everyone to not just, be wandering through life and hope that they make it to the goals that they have. We want to put a written step-by-step plan together so that you actually know how to get to those financial goals. Because if you don't have a plan in place to get you through some of those times and you don't have financial security, that's something else that is added to that stress level that can push you overboard.
Welcome back to the Allon Exchange with Jay and Brittany Hagy. They are both financial advisors, the founders of Allon Planning Partners, and they're here to help you with your retirement planning strategies. And the thing is, it's not just waiting until 6 months or a year before retirement. If we're talking about things that can truly tank your retirement, we're on our own choosing these funds at the 401k. I mean, we can call our plan administrator. We can ask them what's our password reset, but they're not really giving you
financial advice,
pie charts of which funds to choose. I could tell you how probably most people picked the funds.
That's right.
They looked at the last 1, 3, and 5 year returns
That's right.
of them, and they picked the ones that probably did the best.
Made the most.
Yeah,
That's
and
right.
then what? Then they show up at somebody's office and go, how'd I do? Shouldn't we be looking at that way beforehand?
We encourage folks to look at it way beforehand. You should be looking at it as you're signing up for these 401ks, right? And so we help folks all along the spectrum. You know, we specialize when you are hitting those distribution ages. But if you're 35 years old and you have a new 401k, we absolutely could help you. But if you're 50 and you still have maybe 10 or 15 years before you're retired, we want to make sure that you are managing those funds well now. Plenty of our clients right now are still putting into their employee-sponsored plans, and we want to make sure that they're not just doing what you said and picking the one that maybe made the most, but is it the right risk tolerance? You know, a big deal with these 401k plans today are target date funds, which, you know, is the cookie cutter of the industry. It's like, okay, you're this age where you get this many stocks and this many bonds, and it increases or decreases in risk over time. Is that really doing all that it can for you? You know, are target date funds right for your situation? And so we encourage wherever you're at with your 401k plan, come and sit down and talk with us, because we want to make sure that you're making the right decisions today so that tomorrow you don't come back and say, how did I do? Like, what should I have done? Well, we can't cry over the spilt milk there. We have to move forward. So that's what I say, that we want to help anyone, no matter what stage they're on in that 401k plan.
When it comes to 401ks, there are so many different trip-ups that we could face when it comes to our dollars, right? I think one big one that I'd like to highlight is not utilizing a Roth 401k option.
If it's available,
If it is available to you, because when it comes to a Roth account, there are income limitations, which means that if you make above a certain amount, you can no longer contribute to a Roth. Let's just backtrack a minute. The benefit of Roth is being able to grow tax-free dollars. Okay, you pay the taxes now before you put the dollars in, but it grows tax-free, and distributions you take out are tax-free. Again, there is an income limitation on that. So if you make above a certain amount, you cannot contribute to those types of accounts. But there's a little caveat. It's the Roth 401k. There are no income limitations to that type of account. So for those high income wage earners, this is an excellent option. Yeah, cheat code that is might be available to you. Check with your employer. If you have a 401k Roth option, if you are not utilizing that, man, you are leaving so much on the table that could benefit you greatly, especially back to where we started the conversation last segment around taxes. This is a way that you really can get ahead and take control of your tax planning, is by utilizing an option
This is
like that.
a great action step for folks out there right now. And here's the things to be aware of. If you use a Roth 401k, you're going to pay your taxes on it at the current tax rate of where you're at. But we also, because of the Trump tax cuts, we have one of the largest standardized deductions right now in U.S. history. So you get a $15,000 deduction standardized for this year. If you put $15,020, you're already getting most of that deducted. If you are married filing jointly, you get up to $30,000 in deduction. So it could completely cover it. It's not the exact same dollars, but the point is, go ahead and pay your taxes on it if you want to create one tax-free bucket. And if you're 58, 59, 60, you put in your maximum contributions in there. That's $30,000 times 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. You could create a very large tax-free bucket.
That's right.
That doesn't get accounted against things like Social Security and RMDs.
Yeah, and something else to think about when you're looking at your 401ks and contributing to them. If you are switching jobs, maybe you get a promotion, or maybe you switch within the same company or a new job, whatever. If you increase your salary, you should also increase what you're saving, because what you're doing is you're creating a new level within your lifestyle with your income, right? You also need to do that in your savings. Otherwise, you won't be able to maintain that lifestyle when you get to the point of retirement. So again, it's this proactive approach, always thinking ahead. It's like Wayne Gretzky said about when he was asked about how are you so successful in what you do. He said, I am looking at where the puck is going to go. I go to where the puck is going, not where the puck is. Same here. Look a step ahead, stay a step ahead, so that you don't have those unwarranted surprises like with taxes when you get to the point of
You
retirement.
know what, though? As financial planners, I think you're also very well aware of this. Folks, life isn't always linear.
That's right.
Things happen. We lose a job sometimes, or we
Right.
have a health
That's right.
scare.
Right.
You've said sometimes people have old 401ks that they forgot about,
I've seen
or
it.
they lose time into savings, because those calculators you see on your 401k, it's usually a dial of how much you're saving. If you do this, you're on track.
That's right.
What happens if you're not able to save into it for 6 or 8 months? What happens if you have a job change? I appreciate the pay raise, but life gets messy sometimes. You're not able to contribute, or you've actually lost the account, or do people just forget that they had them at a former employer?
Yeah, I've seen both. I've seen people just totally forget that may have worked somewhere for 5 years, 30 years ago, and had a 401k they forgot to ever roll over. So you want to make sure there's many potholes that you can step into in the 401k world. It's not linear. Life is not linear, just like you said. And so you want to make sure, as any transition's happening, maybe you're changing jobs, maybe you've lost your job, maybe who knows what could have happened that has caused you to have to think through your 401k investments. That's the time to come and sit with us. Not wait until later, until we can't fix what has happened, but be proactive, as Brittany said, and sit with us as those changes are taking place.
As far as also things that can tank your retirement, taking an emergency withdrawal, using the retirement account as an emergency
loan,
account,
yeah.
are you for or against this?
I'm not for it because that's not what it's for. We should have an emergency fund separate. Now, if you want to push a panic button and it's emergency to the emergency, right? I think there was an Office episode I saw something like that. But it's an emergency to an emergency, right? But that shouldn't be your first source of emergency fund because that is set aside for yourself later.
Well, and
right?
you're penalized. If you take funds out before you're 59 and a half
Cost
from
you
those
way more money.
401ks and IRAs, you are penalized 10% on top of the distribution, and then you have to pay taxes on what you took out too. So you're really shooting yourself in the foot when you do that. So that should be an absolute last resort. That's not a go-to for, I want to buy this, second home, or, it's not a great option.
Helping the kids pay
Right.
off a wedding or get a down
Right.
payment on the house or whatever it might be, or that job loss. I mean, you're hoping to build up emergency savings. That's literally why it's called emergency
That's right.
savings. Hopefully not going to them. And that's what scares us. And when we say things that can tank your retirement is not properly using, investing, or utilizing those retirement accounts. We want to make sure that you're always focusing on. We might have to tighten up the belt a little bit. But no matter what's happened to you and your family, you're always welcome to reach out to our team here. Look, you don't have to just call when everything is perfect in your life. You don't mind helping people figure
right.
things out to make sure if they can be on track.
That's why people come to us a lot of times, because they're facing some kind of crisis, some kind of problem that required them to face
That's right.
this issue, right? And so we do want to help both, but we want to encourage people, talk through this before you get to that crisis
right.
moment.
Yeah.
Don't wait for that crisis moment or that unwarranted surprise
That's
to
right.
have to deal with it, because you will have I promise you will have fewer options at that point. If you plan ahead and look at, okay, if this were to happen or that were to happen, or you will have more options when it comes to taxes, when it comes to your income.
Plus, I don't know if you're like me, Spike, but when the crisis happens, we're a little bit more emotional in our decisions.
Yes.
You can't think straight all the time
Yep,
when you're
that's
going
right.
through a crisis, and that's why we want to be proactive and help you put a plan together to get through whatever life throws at you.
Right. And if you are in the midst of crisis planning right now, or if you're just unsure if this is keeping you up at night, do yourself a favor. Call the phone number right now down on the bottom of the screen. That's going to go over to our secure call center. We have folks standing by. They'll schedule an appointment. You can sit down with Jay and Brittany. It's literally just a conversation. We can put together your free written financial plan with our team of certified financial planners. And just for coming into the office, you get a complimentary copy of the book, The Allon Exchange Approach. Exactly what we do in the office. A takeaway, you can understand exactly what we do there. And more so, just get to know the team. More mistakes that could tank your retirement when we get back right after this message.
We know you have money questions. Questions about your investments, about taxes, our economy, Social Security, mutual funds, ETFs, and so much more.
So we want to provide you with answers.
We've created a YouTube channel, a weekly podcast, educational videos, and many resources designed just for you. At Allon Planning Partners, it's our mission to invest in you, and this is part of how we do that.
Click the link below to watch and subscribe today. Do you know how taxes will impact your financial future? We meet with many families day after day who have saved years for retirement in a 401k, 403b, or an IRA. But they come to realize they don't truly have a financial plan. They have questions like, how do I turn my money into income streams to last me through retirement? How do I know if I'm best positioned for market volatility and inflation concerns? And how do I ensure I'm not overpaying in taxes? This is one of the greatest tax windows in history, and now is the time to take advantage of this discount while you can. The good news is we specialize in areas such as proper portfolio allocation, retirement income strategies, and tax planning. When you meet with us, you'll walk away with solutions, with answers to your questions. You'll walk away with a written, comprehensive financial plan. Reach out today for your complimentary portfolio review and tax analysis.
Welcome back. You are with financial advisors Jay and Brittany Hagy. They are the founders of Allon Planning Partners. I'm your host, Spike Spangle. We're trying to help you make sure that you don't make some of these mistakes to tank your own retirement. We've been talking about investment strategies, but then there's another aspect of it that I really enjoy. You guys enjoy it as well. It's the behavioral finance aspects of it. 6 decades worth of Nobel Prize winning economic research by people like Amos Tversky, Daniel Kahneman, Richard Thaler, kind of consider the grandfather of it. Timing the market, jumping in and out, FOMO, which is worse, you guys? Do you see all of it?
It's all not ideal, is what I should say, is because our emotions, if we allow them to lead us, all of us want to gain as much as we can and lose nothing, right? All of us want to jump on the hottest thing when the momentum's hitting at the highest point, right? But we, by crafting a holistic plan, see diversification and a plan way more important than how do I just create the hottest momentum of the hottest stock, because that's how a lot of people get hurt. They jump in at the wrong time, they jump out at the wrong time. They're not buying low and selling high, they're buying high and selling low a lot of times. By the time we've heard about the investment, it's already made the move, right? And so I have to talk through that a lot with folks about diversification, because we just want to do the best we can with what we've been given, right? All of us do. So I don't fault anyone for saying, hey, what about this or what about that? Or my brother-in-law told me about this crypto I should buy next week. It's okay. We don't want to say no to everything, but it's all about diversification and perspective of how much of your portfolio should be going to that type of stuff.
That's the key, because a lot of folks come in there like, I want to manage this. This is fun for me, or I enjoy this aspect of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's have different sums of money set up, number one, for different purposes.
That's right.
Number two, invested in different ways. So if you want to have dollars set aside for that, whatever is
your fun money.
Hot of the moment, maybe the cryptocurrency or whatever, Tesla stock or whatever it might be that you particularly want to play in, you've got a sum of money for that, right? But then that doesn't take away, that doesn't take away from your income dollars, or doesn't keep you from getting to where you know you want to be when it comes to retirement, and kind of knocking your knees out from underneath you.
So we're not saying
that.
don't have fun. We're not trying to knock someone's fun out of this. We're trying to say proper positioning matters more than chasing everything that you see
Proper
coming.
positioning is key. Yeah, that is key. When you are properly positioned when it comes to your investment management, it makes all the difference. You're not worried about the hottest stock and this and that for the nest egg of your funds.
Right.
When you're properly positioned, you can walk with peace, you can walk with ease and confidence in knowing that what you've put together, this plan that we've worked together on, will actually get you to where you want to be.
And I appreciate that, both of you as financial advisors. If somebody enjoys the investment aspect of what they're doing, if they seem to have an understanding of what's going on, please don't make decisions that could totally tank your retirement. But I'll pose this, though, on the opposite side of that. What if their spouse doesn't enjoy the investment aspect of it? What happens if something happens to the primary who's doing that? And then,
And if that's the bulk of your
now
financial
they've
plan,
got to become a fund manager as well.
Right.
That's
if that's
right.
the source of your income, that poses a massive problem if something happened to that individual. So you've got to have alternative methods for producing that income or
That's right.
something, right? Again, back to where Jay started a moment ago, it's about diversification, diversifying tax statuses, diversifying your income strategy, diversifying your investment allocation. So it kind of bleeds into all of your plan and not just your investments, but all of that makes a difference.
Right. But one of the big things I think still to tank your retirement is that not knowing how to turn this into income. Actual, reliable, consistent
Real dollar
income that
income.
you can get in retirement. So if you're playing with the investments, now we're messing with things. Maybe you can explain sequence of returns,
That's
what that
right.
means to people. We've covered a little bit on
Yeah.
taxes. We'll do that
Yeah.
again. But if you're going and taking money out with the ups and downs of the market, you could be sometimes doubling your losses if you take it out when the market
because
is down.
losses hurt us more than gains help us at the end of the day once we have accumulated assets. So if you give me $100 and I lose 50% of it, I don't have to gain 50% to break even. I have to gain 100% to get back to even. So if I lose 50, I've got to gain 100. So those little losses nuanced throughout time, the sequence of returns, now it's year over year as I'm taking withdrawals, matter more than the average return over a 30-year period, let's say. So I have to put a plan together of how I'm going to receive this money in retirement. That's what we help with.
For our viewers, real quick, there were a whole bunch of other things we weren't able to get to on this
Yeah.
program. Maybe on your hour-long radio show, you can get to them for folks.
We will.
There was taking your Social Security at the wrong time, not having an estate plan for both your spouse and your next generation.
Not having a
Care
plan
plan.
for healthcare, long-term
Healthcare.
care, medical emergencies. Yeah, that's big.
Handful
lot
of
of
things
stuff.
left on the table. But Jay, for folks, they see that phone number down on the bottom of the screen. What can you do in your first 60 or 90 minutes together with someone?
Yeah, well, we're going to get to know you. We're going to get to know your family, your goals, your desires, and we're going to put resources in your hands to make sure you have a complimentary written financial plan so that you don't have to guess on these areas, that you don't have to worry about the mistakes that are being made, that I'm going to trip up and not be able to hit the retirement that I've longed for. We'll put that together for you with a 60-minute conversation. We would love to sit down with you and your family and get this written complimentary consultation in your hands.
Jay and Brittany, both thank you very much. You know, one of the biggest things, though, that can tank your retirement is not getting started on a plan. Have a real plan. Know exactly what the numbers are for you and your family. Know exactly that you're going to be okay in retirement, that you're going to have the income that will provide the lifestyle that you want to. It starts with that phone call. Dial that phone number on the bottom of the screen. Get your free written plan started with the team of the Allon Exchange. Thanks for watching. We'll be back next week.